talk about love, the topic of love itself, we would most oftenly want to focus on the good parts of it, the good aspects of it, the beauty of it, rather than the filth of it, rather than the bad parts of it, the negativity that is present in love itself. I mean, I personally, if I was in a relationship, of course, I would want to reap the goodness of it, the benefits of it, the happiness of it, the butterflies in the stomach, the joy when you come back home because your loved one told you that you're the best person in the world, and you start jumping around, you go crazy, right? Love makes us crazy. Now the funny thing about it, or one of the conundrum that I stumbled upon while thinking of this topic, we think that love is beautiful, we focus on it so much. We want to avoid the bad things, we don't want to be active participants, we don't want to dwell in the negative part, the arguments and stuff like that. Now, one of the conundrum, as I mentioned, that I find most interesting in a downfall of relationships, or rather the downsides of relationships, is the accountability, or what I like to call the term blame game. The blame game in between couples in a relationship. Now, in most cases, this is very prominent, and I'm pretty sure all of you have experienced it before in your own romantic relationships. It happens when you get into a heated argument, or you experience a fallout in an argument, dissonance in over a conflict. You're full of fervor, so much emotion and feelings, or it can even exist in petty and trivial matters. The really small things, that you don't really take note of. It's not really an argument. It could be you left your keys somewhere. You think you left your keys somewhere, but you actually don't remember, and then you give up a lame excuse and your wife blames you for really petty and small stuff like that. When this happens, we tend to want to blame someone. We want to blame another person for a thing that they committed. I mean, it makes sense. Why should I take the blame when I didn't do anything wrong? Now, if we were to apply the same logic, the same faulty logic in a romantic relationship, of course, there are bound to be disagreements with your partner. You're bound to have more conflicts, more arguments, because simply one just cannot take the blame for themselves. It has to be shared. And another funny thing is, when the other person who's not at fault gets blamed for something that they didn't do, but they are in a romantic relationship and their partner insists that, we should share the blame as well. And often we get dissatisfied. I mean, yeah, I would too. Now, one particular thing that sparked my interest in this topic was I was reading on about infidelity. Now, if we were to apply the topic of infidelity and we put it into a romantic relationship and we let it revolve around that logic, it would be awesome. I mean, in most cases when we have an argument with our partners, it's just two people. And most of the time when you have a smaller group, there are only two parties to be to blame, your partner or yourself. So most often it gets resolved quicker than if you were in a group, 5 people, 10 people, you were with your friends, you don't know who to blame. There's more people to blame if you were thinking illogically. Now, when it comes to infidelity, it would be interesting to kind of know how when you add a third person in, who do you blame? And now, not just any third person, it's not just a friend, it's not just a family member, but someone who can either make or break a relationship. Now, someone with that much influence, that much power, they definitely will have a greater impact on the relationship, and thus we will want to see who gets blamed in a relationship, and that's how I stumbled upon. Now, most couples who have committed infidelity, or most spouses, your partners or a couple, even both of them may have committed affairs with each other and they didn't know. Now, most of the time they do it because they want to seek companionship, they find another person or they see another person who can provide that comfort, that emotional support, that sexual support. Maybe they're not getting enough at home and someone else on the outside is providing that for them. Now that's completely fine. It's how human nature works, you know. There's always someone better at giving something, and yeah, you know how it works. And yeah, it's not only because most people think, oh, because they're lacking of something and that's why they cheat on their partner. You lack emotional, or you're emotionally deprived, or you're sexually deprived, so you look for someone else on the outside. Oh, it's not because of important reasons or important elements in that relationship that is deprived of, that forces us to go outside and look for another person. Sometimes it can occur because you're simply bored and having that, committing that cheating, you know, that infidelity provides you with that sudden rush. You know, you feel so alive. You're like, damn, I can do anything that I want. Now, I'm not saying that most of you here, I'm not saying that your couple will definitely cheat on you. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm trying to say is that people can cheat, people can commit infidelity, not because they want to, but rather than they want to, it's simply a fact that they just can't. You can't leave, you know. It's not like you belong in a relationship and that person owns you forever. No, it doesn't work that way. And of course, the important thing is, if you don't want your partner, or you want to avoid chances of your partner cheating on you, or your spouse, your wife, or whoever it is to cheat on you, most of the time you want to treat them right. You know, if respect and needs are being served, or you know, are being satisfied by either partners or in a relationship, you get enough of that, most of the time it works out. Now, in most times, when a couple discovers that either one of their partners is cheating on them, cheating behind their back, committing infidelity, the kind of interesting thing is, I thought that, hey, you know, if a third party comes in, who are the couples, or rather which one of the couple, or maybe both of them, who might they blame if a third party were to interfere? Now, it kind of works in a very funny way, because most often I would like to think that we don't immediately blame our partner because we have been in a relationship long enough, and we have, you know, exchanged vows, promises saying, you know, I would love you, and you would definitely, and we have an assumption to think that our partner wouldn't do anything that definitely hurt us. So the first thing that I think couples would like to do is, when a third party comes in, what happens is they immediately shift the blame to the third person. Now, of course, in most cases, I would think this is true, because we have, our partners especially, have definitely lived up to our expectations of them. You know, they're good, you know, they're loyal, they're still here, we've been together for 5 years, we live with each other. It's almost impossible that my partner would cheat on me. Now, if that would be the case, I mean, then there won't be any cheating occurring at all in your relationship. Now, let's look into why, let's dive into a bit on why we allow such people to interfere. Now, we see a lot of people every day, you know. In a couple, it's not just two of us in a small little bubble, and the world around us that is revolving around us doesn't exist. No, it's not that. We meet people every day. We meet new friends, we meet new colleagues, we meet, you know, any random stranger, and eventually, you never know, we become acquaintances, we become close friends, and eventually, you know, things start to develop, feelings, intimacy, you know, and all that elements of relationships. Now, in most times, we are together with our partner. Now, it was never wrong to think that, hey, you know, and most people I think would actually think that way. Why stop at enough when you can have more, right? Of course, when I say this, of course, people look at me like, what, so wait, are you giving me the green light to cheat on my partner? No, I'm not doing that. I'm not justifying the act of infidelity, the act of cheating based on whatever I just quoted earlier. But I would like to think that, when we meet new people, we learn more about ourselves. We learn, hey, we discover the possibilities within ourselves, more possibilities within ourselves, and with other people as well. And it's kind of funny if you think of it this way. Now, in a relationship, most often you would think, hey, I'm together with my partner. My partner thinks I'm worthy enough to be with her. And now in the case of infidelity, imagine if you had 100 men or 100 women chasing you. It would give you a kind of thought that, hey, not only does my partner find me worthy, but 100 other people find me worthy as well. So I don't think it's wrong. I mean, the act of infidelity, if we talk about how it revolves around infidelity, the act itself is wrong. But if you were to think of it, it's a very good way to kind of boost our own self-confidence. We think, hey, a lot of people are attracted to me. A lot of people seem to find me worthy. Why not I work on myself? And stuff like that, So at times like these, we would think that, hey, it's fine to allow another person to interfere. And in actuality, if we look at it realistically, we get these chances every day. So the chances of your partner or your spouse or your wife or your husband committing this act of cheating, it happens every day. It's not cumulative, but it's just there. There's always a probability that it might happen. Yeah, and so when this happens, we tend to want to blame the third person instead of our own partners, because we would never look at them that way. We would never think that they would be unloyal and thus they would cheat on you. I think the problem here is that partners or couples tend to look at it at who's to blame first, but I think the most important thing is understanding the root of the problem that caused this. Now, what most couples don't know is that most problems start within the relationship itself. It's something internal, not external. And one reason why I think we shouldn't blame the third person is because we always tend to shove our own problems in a relationship away from us. Now, a lot of negative factors in a relationship, most couples are not aware that a lot of negative factors, they breed a lot of thoughts of infidelity in couples, and in most times, these negative factors are often not seen by the couples themselves. And I think it's really not really fair to be blaming another person for your own problems. And I think this is the main issue. We always blame someone else when we are in denial of our own faults, and when we don't want to be at fault so much, and that we lack awareness of what we did. And now I think these elements really kill the relationship, and it kind of drives your partner to go away and think that, hey, I'm not getting what I want. My satisfactions are not uplifted all the time. My needs are not being granted by my partner, and there are people outside who are ready and available to always provide that for me. And I think this is the main issue. We always blame someone else when we are in denial of our own faults, and when we don't want to be at fault so much, and that we lack awareness of what we did. And now I think these elements really kill the relationship, and it kind of drives your partner to go away and think that, hey, I'm not getting what I want. My satisfactions are not uplifted all the time. My needs are not being granted by my partner, and there are people outside who are ready and available to always provide that for me. Research has shown that in most cases, interferers themselves, the third party, were not aware of that a person was already in a relationship. And so I think it's really unfair to blame someone if they didn't know in the first place. And in other cases, couples themselves knew that they were to blame. I mean, they were aware that they were unloyal to their own partners, and thus it's not that most times couples don't know, or they don't think they're in fault. They already know that they're in fault, but because of the positive things that they receive from the interferer themselves, they tend to just go along. And I mean, we won't want to let the good things go, like I said earlier. So to those people out there today in this talk, if ever you plan to cheat on your partner, or if your partner ever cheats on you, you just gotta know There's always someone to blame, but you shouldn't always blame someone else for your own mistakes.